Where are you now?
Gaza. This is my neighborhood. No one live here or there or there. There's no one.
When the war started on October 7th, I was traveling around the world, presenting my last film that talks about a war I've personally experienced as a teenager in Iran. I decided to go to Cairo in order to cross through Rafah, but I couldn't because all the roads to Gaza were blocked. Instead, I started filming Palestinian refugees who were just arriving from Gaza. Through one of them, I came to know Fatem.
I'm a photographer.
Yes, I saw your photos.
Meeting her was like a mirror held in front of me that made me realize how much both our lives are conditioned by walls and wars.
You have many options to die here in South Gaza. You can die by bombing or fear, starvation.
Each of our conversations could be the last one, as Israeli bombs fall everywhere in Gaza all the time.
I miss so much.
Yeah, me too.
So every time we connect and I can see her face, it feels like a miracle.
We're going to do a screening of the film, Put Your Soul in Your Hand and Walk. So we'll start that after the interview and Q&A. And as you would have seen from the advertisement, we were going to have an interview with Ahmed Al-Naouk from Palestine Deep Dive. So unfortunately, he's had a bit of a family emergency. So he sent along Hala Hanina. So she's also she's a host from Palestine Deep Dive and Palestinian activist. Doing a PhD at Newcastle University. And there's some really interesting videos of hers on Palestine Deep Dive. I've seen them on Instagram, so worth checking out, definitely. So the film, Put Your Soul on Your Hand and Walk, I don't know if anyone here has seen it already, but it's a really, really moving film it's a documentary about the girl Fatma Hassanah. So she's 25-year-old. She's a photojournalist living in Gaza. So shortly after the film was released, it was... can you not hear me? Sorry. Hello. Oh, that's very different. I don't have to project so much now. Okay. Shortly after the film came out, it went to the Cannes Film Festival, and sadly, I think pretty much as a result of that, she got targeted. Her family got targeted. So the house got bombed, but in an Israeli airstrike. So forensic architecture have done research on that. I suggest that you Google it. If you Google her name, Fatma Hassanah, and forensic architecture, you can see the report yourself. So really, really devastating. And obviously, the IDF tried to excuse it as something else to do with Hamas, but we know that's not the case. So sadly, 6 of her family died. Her sister was pregnant as well. Hala, you knew Fatma personally, didn't you? Yeah.
Yes.
So you worked for a charity together, or she worked for a charity?
It's not work. We both volunteer for the Ihsan campaign. It's a youth, like a charitable thing that we used to do. And I used to contact her within the genocide because she was among the very few people who stayed in the north itself. And when we wanted to, distribute food or send money or something for people there who are unable to find anything, she was the one who's doing that. So she has been like a great friend, a great person. She's not just a person who takes photos. She's also a filmmaker, a singer, a writer, a poet. And she was so young, and she was killed because of how strong she has shown everything about the genocide in Gaza, and she was targeted for that. So I wish what Israel wanted with silencing her will not happen, because we're all here to know her more, and also to make her voice heard again more powerfully than they could have imagined.
I watched the film myself about 6 weeks ago, and she'll stay with you. You know, she's got this amazing light about her, hasn't she? I mean, she's just very enigmatic individual, and just like her light shines, she's just so beautiful inside and out, really. So, you know, this film will come online end of September, so please just keep her memory alive. Tell your friends about her. It's screening elsewhere as well. So, yeah, I mean, she'll just stay with you regardless. So you may have noticed at the back we've got the book We Are Not Numbers. So Hala is one of the authors from We Are Not Numbers. I don't know if you're familiar with that project. So that was a project that Ahmed Al-Nawik started in 2014 when his brother died in an Israeli strike. And he wrote a story about it. And Pam Bailey and Ahmed together came up with the idea, didn't they, to create a book platforming voices of young people in Palestine. So it's a really, really brilliant book. Please do buy it. At some point, Hala will read a poem from the book. I was just reading it again this week in preparation for today. And amidst all the chaos that we're facing, you know, it's felt like a particularly intense week with all the Herzog and the Desi stuff, and so I found it actually, even though it's quite a dark book, it's people recalling their experiences of Gaza from 2014 to up until well, it goes up to the present day. A few months ago, I can't remember when it was published. There's a lot of loss in the book. There's a lot of pain in the book. But regardless, I found it very grounding reading the book, because it really focuses in on what matters in life, right? We're asked constantly to invest in so much that is completely meaningless in the Western modern world. There's so many distractions, and you know, hopefully we're all turning away from that. But when you read the book, I feel like you get a sense of the essence of humanity, because there's so much wonderment in the book. There's so much purity of dreams and hope, and like everyone loves reading in the book. Everyone has these great ambitions, and it's not ambitions for sort of success in a material sense. It's like they want to you know, fly to the moon or become great scientists, and you know, it's just really humbling reading the book. So could you tell us a bit about your contribution to the book and what you would like to get people to get from reading the book?
Thank you so much. Thank you for your question. I'll start from the beginning. I don't know if you know Ahmed Al-Nawik or you know his story, but it's very founding for and grounding for the book itself. Ahmed Al-Nawik in 2014, as you have said, had his brother killed, and he couldn't deal with that. It was his first loss, and to lose like older brother and someone you lived your life with, someone you spent all of your time with. They were like twins all the time together with the friends of his brother. And in the 2014 Israeli aggression, Israel have targeted the group of like the brother of Ahmed and his friends, and they were killed together. And Ahmed couldn't deal with that at all, couldn't talk about him, couldn't do anything. And Pam, as you have said, have reached out to him, and she's a journalist. They worked together before in Gaza. And she told him, Ahmed, let us know your brother. Let us know him, not just his name. We need to know him more than a number. We need to know his story, his dreams, his ambitions, his struggles, as any youth in the world. We need to understand who all of his life is. And he agreed after time. And then he started writing about him. He wrote everything he could like think about, his life, his dreams, his like their time together, their like playing together as children and all of that. And what he was like calling for, what he wanted, what he believed in. And then Pam told him, we have to publish this. And they published it. And it was the first story that all the WeAreNotNumbers project was born from. Because like after Ahmed published his own story, it wasn't just about him. It's not just his brother shouldn't be a number, but also anyone killed shouldn't be a number. And that's why it went on. After that, Ahmed went, unfortunately, against so many losses. He had his mother, I would say, murdered. She had like cancer, and Israel had denied her treatment in 2019, 2020. And unfortunately, she died because of the cancer and the lack of treatment. And in this genocide, it was like the heaviest on all of us, but also on Ahmed. On the 22nd of October, he had 2 a.m. in the morning, had all of his family, 21 members, including his father, his siblings, and 14 children below the year of 13, all of them killed together in one Israeli bombardment at Deir al-Balah. And he has no one. And you would imagine that someone like that would be broken because he lost every single, like most of his family, I would say 21 members. But he wasn't. Because he knows that our people are not numbers. They should be known, they should be documented, should be loved, and other people should learn from them and resist and to end the occupation and colonialism. But to focus more on the book itself, the book is 74 stories. Like WeAreNotNumbers has so many other stories, but the book has 74 of them with 59 writers from Gaza, basically. It has covered over than 10 years of the life in Gaza, from 2014 until 2024, because it was published in April this year. And in each chapter, like each of the chapters of the book, it talks about the most stories that documents and speaks about the situation in Gaza. It talks about the history of people, the biography of people, the arts, the culture, the music, people's lives, people's struggles, people's dreams, as you have already said before. And Gaza have gone through 6 Israeli aggressions before this genocide. So people also talk about that, and they talk about it in stories, so their own stories. They talk about it in poems, very beautifully written poems, coming totally from the heart of the people. The last chapter is dedicated to the genocide itself. It talks about people's stories, poems, and all of that they have written within the genocide. It also has some documentations of the writers who have wrote articles and they were killed. And like poems from also writers and co-founders, or like some people who were in the administrative part of it, as Rifat Al-Arair, that many of you already know. So it has all of that, and it's very beautifully written. It shows like something that you will not see in any other documentation, because it shows that it didn't start on the 7th of October. Whatever we're seeing right now, whatever is unfolding now in Gaza and in whole Palestine, did not start by the 7th of October. It started way before. And you can see all of that in a beautifully written stories by youth, young youth. And they have like, so there is like, it's a youth thing. It has no political agenda, no any kind of biases or anything like that. It doesn't have any factional view. So you have the views and stories coming from the hearts of the writers, from the like females and males who have written it, directly written to you, and it's written in English. And this book have like since its publication, since the first day, it was the first seller in the UK and Ireland, and it's spreading very well also at the US. And not just that, it's been translated to Italian language, Japanese language, and Arabic. So it's doing a great job, because it's not just showing, as I said, the damage, the death, the genocide, the sadness. It's not just showing that. It's showing the beauty of Gaza, the life of Gaza, the life within, the struggles that we had even before the genocide. But we had a sort of life, and it's documented there. But also it documents the loss, the grief, the sadness, and everything. So it's a documentation of the past and present, and it's all in your hands, that you can have the privilege of reading it. And something very important about the book that you can't see in any other places is that it's written by Palestinians, Palestinian youth from inside Gaza. And it's written in a way that shows the real opinions and showing that, it's not just about sharing the story, but also sharing it to someone from the West. And it's something we learned in We Are Not Numbers. We had so many trainings on how to deliver our message in a way that other people would understand. And sometimes I try to explain to people it's not just about, telling a story. It's not just about this happens and that happens, but also about bringing people into the conversation. For instance, you see my glasses. It looks normal. It's not. Those glasses are my perspective, are my direction. Why? Because those glasses were made by Khurshid. Khurshid family is one of the pioneering, well-known families in Gaza who have been doing opticals in Gaza. Most of them are doctors and they work in that since a long time. They made my glasses since I was a little child. And I always loved them and went there to do my glasses with them. And before I left Gaza, a few days before the beginning of the genocide, I had my new glasses made by them. And I was happy with that. And then when the genocide started, unfortunately, the family was targeted by the Israeli occupation. It wasn't just the doctors I knew that were killed, but also the whole extended family. More than 200 members, and you can read some stories about that. So for me, I'm not just watching life as anyone else is watching it. I'm not just remembering the genocide. I'm also seeing the life from the perspective of loss, from the perspective of knowing that every single moment is passing around us is a moment of loss, grief, because the genocide and the Israeli occupation colonialism is still ongoing. So this book gives you a lot. It's a chance to listen to Gazans by themselves. It's not me talking about them. It's not any Western person who's talking about them. It's them talking about themselves by themselves. And we have the privilege to know them. So how lucky we are.
Thanks so much, Hala. I think the connection with the stories of Palestinians is really important. I think we spend, those of us, in the movement, we spend a lot of time putting our heads into geopolitics or into going to protests. And a lot of the time we think that we're trying to help them, but along the way, I've really felt it myself, that it's transforming yourself. And I'm sure a lot of you here feel that as well, that they're reconnecting us to our humanity and committing us to that. So how important do you think that aspect of the movement is, how central that should be, that reminder of our humanity, and fighting the dehumanization of Palestinians and bringing their story home?
Thank you so much. I believe the genocide have shown multiple things to all of us. I think it was eye-opening for so many of us. Many of us believe that we live in a democratic country, for instance. I think we all agree that it's not democratic anymore. Many of us believe that we live in a world where justice, human rights will prevail if we just thought that it would. Many of us thought that we're all equal, but apparently we're not. Many of us thought that colonialism have ended, but look around us, it's everywhere. And as they say it, colonialism in our land, in the global colonized areas, is reflecting as fascism in those countries that colonized the other. So it's very important for us to believe and to understand that it's not Gaza that's now failing, it's the world that failed them. Gaza have demonstrated, have communicated, have documented every single thing that's happening. The genocide is live streaming in front of all of us. By whom? By journalists, by people, people literally living it, not surviving it, living it. And we're all seeing that. And it's our responsibility to have that eye-opening moment, but it's not enough. We have to change the world. the world we live in has failed Gazans, Palestinians, all people oppressed, but it has also failed us. We deserve better than that. We deserve to live in a world where oppressed people, specifically when seen, it's the first time we've seen a genocide. We always heard about that and said, no, if we were there at that time, we would have stopped it. We would never have allowed it. But now it's almost 2 years. 2 years of a monstrous attack against the Palestinians that we all are watching. And Israel's doing their litmus test of something and then going the whole way with that. So we need to remember that although Palestinians are living the unlivable, but we need to understand that we are also living the unlivable as long as we allow it to continue. And for them, first of all, and then for ourselves, we shouldn't allow this to continue. Because what's happening to the people in Gaza now will be happen. It's actually happening in 7 other capitals around Gaza, around Palestine, and also like the West Bank and different areas in Palestine, occupied Palestine, but in 7 other capitals other than Palestine. And it will spread by Israel and by other powers who will understand that power, oppression can actually work. So we should never allow this. This will not be the norm. Zionism should be dismantled. Occupation, colonialism should be stopped. And this is our duty. This is what we should all work towards. Demonstrations, public awareness, such events, talking about Palestinians, sharing their content, it's our responsibility, our shared responsibility. Because if we fail them more, if we failed us more, we're failing ourselves. And we'll see it in our own lives and unfortunately in the descendants' life. So we have to stand all together and stop it.
Yeah, I mean, like, to allow it to go on, it's turning us into monsters, really. Those who are finding a way of turning away from it. Most of us, well, I assume everyone here is doing their bit. Just by being here, you're doing something. But there's still a lot of people here who are managing to blinker themselves somehow. So it really is destroying everyone everywhere, potentially. So the film is about Fatma, and she's a photojournalist. Could you, like, the journalists in Palestine have been reporting on their own starvation. They've seen their colleagues die. They've had family members die. And in fact, they've had family members targeted, haven't they? I mean, it's an incredible risk that they're taking to get this information to us. Could you tell us a bit about the risk that they're taking, please?
Thank you. That's very painful. I don't know if people know or not, but in Gaza, we're all connected. We've been all like, I don't know, we have family ties, we have friendships, we have that enclosed siege around us that made us know no one else but ourselves, the rest of the community. And Israel, until now, have killed more than 245 journalists in Gaza, and they're still killing, unfortunately, more. And in so many instances, they've killed the journalist along with the family or the family of the journalist in a way to threaten them that they should stop documenting the genocide. And that happened, for instance, with Anas. His father was targeted before he himself was killed with other 6 journalists from Gaza. And that was the way for Israel to stop him without making the outrage that they imagined that might stop the genocide, which it didn't after they killed him, unfortunately. But it's very important to remember that journalists in Gaza and people in Gaza are not just documenting the truth. They do that, and this is very powerful and important. But for Israel, this is not the only issue. For Israel, they also care about the people inside. For instance, I talked about Fatim, as she prefers to be called. Fatim and Anas were among the people who didn't leave Gaza. With the famine, with the evacuation orders or ethnic cleansing or whatever could be used to name that. They didn't leave it. And that does mean, first, the truth will be documented, very important. Not just that, our people will know that journalists are there. And when they know that, they will know that they are seen, they are heard, what's happening is documented, and they will feel that they have the right to stay because they are not alone. Some other people are there and journalists are there. So this is a way to force journalists to escape, to go away. Because if they were able to force journalists, doctors, and all of those people who other people are depending on for solidarity, for strength and resistance, if they're gone, then what should they do? And that's why Anas al-Sharif, his colleagues, all Gaza team of Al Jazeera and Mohammed al-Khalidi also, Allah yarhamu, they were all killed at the first day of the Israeli ground invasion of Gaza city. That's why. That's why Fatima was killed, because she was in the north of Gaza. She didn't only stay at Gaza city, she was in the north of the north. She stayed there. She gave people resilience. She gave people sumud. She gave people a way to stay. They were not alone. They are seen, and she can see them, and the world can see them. So for that reason, and so many other reasons, Israel is targeting journalists. And for me as a Palestinian from Gaza, in 2018, I remember I participated in the Great March of Return. Why? Because I believed something silly, that if the international community saw us, and if they saw us using their, let's say, brands and their resolutions, and we understand that and we claimed it in a way that they like, using English language, standing in demonstrations and all of that, they will believe us, they will stand with us, and they will stop the occupation and colonialism and all of that. How naive I was. And unfortunately, as a participant, I saw every single day people, friends, and I witnessed the murder and sniping of people, participants, standing with me unarmed to call for our right of return. And at that time, I met Yasser Murtaja. Does any of you know him? He's a journalist from Gaza, a brilliant one. He was 31 years old, and he wished to travel outside Gaza. His dream was to see Gaza from the sky. And in 2018, he was sniped, wearing his vest, and he was killed. And he's one of the co-founders of Ain Media, and I'm using it as an example of the targeting of journalists. Ain Media, so the media eye, is a media company. He was one of the co-founders of it. And at the beginning he was killed. And at the beginning of this genocide, one of the people in the team, the journalist, on the 7th of October, was also killed, a cameraman. Didn't stop on that. It also continued. On the same day, Ahmed's family were killed, while I was sitting with the whole of our friends together with Ahmed, trying to cry together because we couldn't say anything. The news of Rushdie Sarraj came. He was also killed. Who is Rushdie Sarraj? The other co-founder of Ain Media. And he was also killed. And 3 others from the team were also killed. And now Ain Media is led by the wife of Rushdie Murtaja, Shuruq al-Aila, who has her daughter orphaned, unfortunately, 2 years old baby. And she's now leading the company. And Israel continues to dismantle, to kill, to target journalists as individuals, as families, and as companies, because they have that dedication. And it's not just Gaza. We allowed it to happen in Gaza. Gaza was the litmus test. Do you know who was also targeted yesterday? 25 Yemeni journalists. They were targeted in Yemen, and they were killed. Have you seen the news on that? BBC cover it? Did any British media cover it? Have you seen it? It's the act of blinding people. They make that. Since when the murder of journalists is allowed? They are protected by Geneva Conventions. It's funny now. Not just them, there are so many protected groups, among them the occupied Palestinians. Any occupied group is a protected group. Civilians are protected, but you can see the genocide unfolding. So unfortunately, with the failure of the world in stopping the genocide, what's happening in Gaza is replicated everywhere.
Well, and they're also being dehumanized in the process. So there was that terrible Bild, the German tabloid. They did a headline about Anas al-Sharif, and the title was "Terrorists Disguised as Journalists Killed in Gaza." So, they're taking on incredible risks and then being completely dehumanized. And then our journalists are doing very little on the whole. I mean, how does that make you feel? Just that headline. I mean, that's a pretty awful headline, isn't it? Sorry?
Repeat the headline.
So it was terrorists disguised as journalists killed in Gaza.
Yeah. This is one of the Israeli strategies. They have long-term documented, dehumanizes all the Palestinians, but specifically men. I remember when, before talking about this line, I remember when, you will remember him, how he looks, the old man who loves his granddaughter and was kissing her when she was killed. Yes, you all remember him? I remember the shock of the West when they saw him. He looked like everything portrayed to the West to be evil, and he looked so nice. He dealt so delicate with his granddaughter Hind. And the world was like, oh my God, I can't believe that Arab men, Palestinian men, could be nice. Why? You haven't seen British men acting nice? Why would us be different? Why would us be like the odd out? Our women, our men are like any other human being in the world. And we have so many, most of our men are delicate, nice, cute. And they love us. You've seen them crying on their daughters, crying on their wives, crying on their families, that they have been denied because Israel have killed them, mass killing of them. God knows how many widowers we have in Gaza right now. We know the number of widows, 14,000, but again, dehumanization. We don't even know the number of widowers because no one cares. Our men are dehumanized. And with the journalists, before Israel killed them, and it depends, if the journalist is known to the West or well known in general, they make that extra step to create the claim before murdering them. But if that journalist wasn't that well known and all of that, they wouldn't even try. Because they are already dehumanized. Women and men, by being Palestinians, they are silenced. How many Western journalists have spoken about our journalists? Their journalist colleagues, it's their responsibility to talk about them, but they haven't. Dehumanization of Anas al-Sharif, and before him, Hassan Slayeh. Do you know Hassan Slayeh? Hassan Slayeh, Hassan Slayeh is a journalist from Khan Younis, and he's like a beautiful-hearted man who have always given to the community. I worked with him a lot before, and he always volunteered his efforts. And Hassan Slayeh was first, you would remember, do you know the first tent in the hospital of Khan Younis in Nasser that was bombed, the journalist tent, where we all seen men burning into charcoal. And then one of them was severely injured and taken to the hospital. That was Hassan Slayeh, and there's many of the other journalists were killed. Hassan Slayeh was taken to the hospital. What did Israel do? Again, they reported that he's a terrorist and he's doing terrorist stuff. Although he was every single day in front of the camera, we've all seen him. But they have said that, and that was the ground of the Western journalists to capture the line. And then in the hospital, in the department where he was being treated, he was targeted and killed. A journalist, a hospital, and they didn't care. With Anas Sharif, 5 of his Jazeera colleagues, all journalists, and also Mohammed al-Khaldi, he was with them too. All of them, before being murdered, before Anas and them were murdered, Israel have said the same line. They have made that propaganda by so many of their Zionist allies talking about Anas
Well,
as
and the BBC as well smeared
Yes.
him, and there was a campaign, wasn't there, amongst BBC staff to change that report that he was a Hamas operative, and I think it's still up there actually.
I think it's still
yeah.
up there, yeah. Although he was murdered for that lie, and for that claim, but they don't even shy off making those claims that he'll been committing the genocide, first of all. Secondly, allowing their colleagues to be murdered. And unfortunately, Anas al-Sharif also and his colleagues, they were killed in a hospital, in a journalist tent, designated and known for that. And it was first dehumanization. It was making the ground able to receive that news. And then it was picked up by the Western media in the same way. And they always do that. So it's not a discussion over killing journalists is a crime and it's against Geneva Convention, it's against the international law. Killing any occupied person, human, shouldn't happen. It should be that, this should be the line of the media. But because Israel do something in advance, then the media is debating, is he a terrorist? So, should we say that he should have been killed? What did he do? And all of that is based on a lie that Israel have created. And those media that should be objective and transparent, and we have learned a lot of lies about the Western media, unfortunately. They are carrying those lies and allowing the genocide to continue by this propaganda. And because of them, our friends, our colleagues, the bravest of us, the best of us, our heroes, they didn't choose to be. Anas is so young to be even a journalist, to do whatever he has done, to carry the burden of humanity, to carry the burden of documenting a genocide. And he did it. And all of our journalists have done it. And they're so young. They haven't seen the world, actually. But they've done it for them, for the world to see. In what expense? Their lives. They've been killed, and so many of them along their own families. Do you think the price is worthy? Have we done enough for that price? No, so we should do more. It's our responsibility.
Like you said, it's a litmus test as well.
It's a litmus test.
I mean, what kind of a precedent is this setting for journalists in conflict zones in the future when we're breaking down this sort of international law? And often they talk about that thing about being balanced. That's what the BBC does a lot, doesn't it? I mean, we all know that's nonsense. But I mean, I think that aim is nonsense in the first place. I'm more with Robert Fisk, who said, the job of a journalist is to speak truth to power, to protect the vulnerable. It's impossible we're human beings. We're going to have biases. And when they claim they're not being biased, that we know that's rubbish when they claim they're being balanced. But I can't imagine any journalist here going into that career to be the voice of the powerful. That's not a goal. I mean, maybe nowadays things are changing. People are so sort of money orientated. Maybe they don't even have a dream behind their journalism. But what would you say to those journalists who are compromising themselves? Maybe not just the terrible, corrupt ones like in the tabloids, but the ones that are compromising themselves. What would you say to them?
Shame on them. For the Palestinians, they are putting their lives. They might lose their lives. Their families are losing their lives because they are documenting and showing and revealing the truth. For the Western journalists who have that dream, or maybe, I don't know right now if they actually have had it.
Once upon a time.
Yeah, once upon a time, they might have had it, specifically those complicit. I don't know how they can see those brave, honorable, strong, and standing for humanity, and also delicate. In so many of their interviews, they cried. They're part of not just witnesses, the victims of the genocide. They were starved, they lost their family members, they have been displaced from place to a place, and they spoke in the eye of the power. They spoke against it. They didn't care. Not because they don't like life or privilege or money or anything, they do. But it's their responsibility. And they knew it so well. But what about the Western media? What about those many media outlets that the world have always honored? What about them? Why are they silencing their Palestinian colleagues? Why are they not speaking to the power that they once dreamed of? This is one thing. The other thing is about the dehumanization and the bias. They're always claiming to be objective. And because of that, we can't stand with Palestine. We can't talk about this and this without saying what Israel is saying. Okay, when you cover, do you actually say what Palestinians say? In your reports, how many times you mention Israeli IOF, IDF? How many times you mention Israeli reporters, Israeli, settlers and all of that? And how many times you mention Palestinians? How many times you interview them? Not just that, they call our men, our children. Our boys are men. Israeli boys, Israeli men, and soldiers serving in Gaza, killed while committing the genocide. So they are war criminals. They called by this media teenagers. But our boys are men. Our young girls, our children, Hind, for the media, is a woman. But Israeli soldiers, female soldiers, again, are teenagers. And they claim objectivity. They claim to be indifferent. They claim to be unbiased. But they are not at all. They're just hiding as beasts, using those terms.
And they're dead inside.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, they have to live with themselves,
The only way that they live in that way is to be dead inside.
Yeah. But we can all do our bit, turn away from legacy media. I'm sure none of us here watch the BBC anymore. Good.
It's a shame.
Just to check in every now and again and have a grumble. But yeah, please do just always tell your friends. I mean, anyone I talk to, I'm always telling them about channels like Palestine Deep Dive as well. We're going to get to Q&A in a second, but before we do, what's the time? Yeah, we should get to a Q&A. So let's try and end on a positive note. I want to sort of hear about your hopes for the future and what we can all do to help. I was feeling quite positive about the strike on Qatar because I think it's gone so crazy that they've really Israel's really shot themselves in the foot this time, and hopefully we'll see some sense will start to come through, and the Arab leaders will realise that no one is safe, even an ally of America isn't safe, and they'll start to coordinate and realise who the real enemy is. You can't be an ally of America and Israel, basically. So, that gives me some hope. I'd like to know what you might have seen recently that's given you some hope.
You said I need to finish with a positive note. I'll try it at the end, but I wouldn't say that I was that optimistic. For us, it was a shock. For Israel to be able, we know that Israel have bombarded Lebanon, Syria, multiple times, multiple places, all of them. Tunisia, bombarding the flotilla. And you've all seen that. Our heroes, our people who are going to Gaza, to not just to end the siege, but hopefully to help in ending the genocide, in a ceasefire actually to happen. 50 ships hoping to be there. I hope they increase to 1,000 at least. But yeah, they bombed them. They also bombed Yemen, Iran, and the list continues. And when they bombed Qatar, when they bombed what they thought the negotiation team, it was like the end of the world. If all of this is about negotiation, if all of this should end with the negotiation, and you had the intent to kill all the negotiation team, then you're not after the end of the genocide. And that, unfortunately, was like the end of hope for us. Because how else would the genocide end? And if they have the gut, if they have the power to bomb Qatar, the one helping in the negotiation, It's like bombing the US, but it's farther away. It's there, like, it's not the ally, but someone in between, someone mediating. And you should respect, at least. If they have that power and careless intention to bomb them, why would they ever first end the genocide and have the negotiation continuing? This is first. Second, even if they did, negotiation succeeded, all of our people got free from Israeli prisoners and their people got out, will that be the end of the genocide? Would Israel actually stop? Do they actually care? Or was that the litmus test again? And have we failed it? Have Israel tested if they can actually bomb other countries where any Palestinian sits and kill them, and no one is gonna do anything? Are we unsafe here in the UK? Could I or any of the activists, Palestinian activists, be killed because Israel won that? Or will the world stand out? Will the world say that we reject it? This is unacceptable. You can't do that. This is illegal. This is beyond anything we can accept. Would this be the moment? It can be.
I hope so.
I
hope that Arab leaders are going to wake up. I think this is the moment for them.
They have already said some stuff they haven't said before. So maybe. Yeah. But we need to make sure that it's not a maybe. We need to make sure that we are the power that mobilizes the end of this. This is not acceptable, and we will not accept it. It should be us. Who leads that? It shouldn't be a maybe.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks so much. So let's thank you, Hala. Okay, we've got time for a few questions, and then maybe you'd like to buy the book just over there. Yeah.
Yes, right there.
So yes, you had your hand up a moment ago. Do you want to?
When you talk about the fact that what's happening to Palestine may happen in the future to others. And I think that's a very valid point, because if you can tolerate what we are tolerating now, God knows we can tolerate it anywhere. But another thing I wanted to say is we are already seeing some of the effect, namely our freedoms are being attacked in the same. It's nothing like what's happening to you, but those who support Palestine, the freedoms are slowly being eroded. So they used to say about Ireland, they're bringing the war back home. And in a sense, that is happening now. And then there was another point about balance and the media. And something that always gets me, and I know we speak to Israeli representatives, and Israel says we're fighting Hamas, but we never, ever speak to a representative of Hamas. If they really wanted balance, that is how they would effectively do it. But I don't see that as happening.
Thank you. One by one, or will you take it, all of them?
Yeah, a couple more questions. Anyone? Sorry, do you mind passing that back? Thank you.
If you could tell us what your thesis is about.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just an observation rather than a question. You were speaking about the bravery and the youth journalists. And one thing that I saw, I think it was well over a year ago, and I don't even think it went viral, but it's like really stayed with me, was a young man. He must have been in his early 20s, and he was reporting using his mobile phone, and he started getting chased by drones, and he didn't put his phone away. Carried on running with a drone. Yeah, and I was struck with the cowardice of our journalism, and exactly what you said about Robert Fisk. Journalism is about reporting the truth. It's not about taking two sides and adjudicating between two sides. It's about reporting what's going on. So it's just an observation, and I was really moved by what you had said. And as a British person, I'm not patriotic, I've never been patriotic, but I still feel a deep disgust and shame with my country. And I don't think we'll ever get past this. Just one slight ray of hope. I think the youth, the next generation, are not like older generations. I think this is a turning point. It's too late for so many people in Palestine, but I don't, the world is never going to forget this. And my children, I have two children, my children, they've been educated, they've had a very, very fast education. And I think it's the next generation is not going to hold the same views that other generations have.
Thank you.
Would you like to comment? Do you want to comment?
Yeah.
Oh, you got a mic.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for the questions. And I agree with you. It's already happening with everyone who's witnessing that. The failure of people in Gaza, the failure for the Palestinians is actually a failure for all of us. And we've seen it also as a litmus test. I remember at the beginning of the Israeli genocide over Gaza, where someone at the government have said that the pro-Palestinian demonstrations are terrorist demonstrations and all of that. And it was the beginning. It was the litmus test, and then the oppression continued and is still continuing. Now we have some pro-Palestinian groups also deemed as terrorists in this country, and it's going on. It's continuing. And unfortunately, without all of us standing together against this oppression, it will keep continuing and continuing until not just that Palestinian, saying a Palestinian or saying Palestine will be unallowed, but maybe seeing us will be not allowed. Because for them, it's all about silencing. And when they do that, they actually get us. So unfortunately, it's reaching everyone. And if people don't believe that we should do something for the people in Gaza, for the people in Palestine, and the oppressed people everywhere, they should at least think about themselves, about their children, their grandchildren. Because whatever they accept now, those will live. It will be their reality. So there's something very interesting about the Western media that they always mention in the news, and when they talk about that we have Palestinian journalists on the ground and they're saying this and this, but we can never be sure because we don't have international journalists on the ground. And this is very racist. We don't need international journalists to show the truth. Our journalists are capable of that, and they've done it for almost 2 years, with the Western journalists silencing them. Do I believe that when we get the international journalists into Gaza, they will show the truth? No. Those allowed by Israel, their media, their content, their videos and photos, and the narrative inside that were all controlled by Israel. If your media is controlled, then don't patronize and be racist about our journalists who are heroes and who the world should learn saying the truth in front of the power from them. If we wanted international journalists inside Gaza, it's not because our people or our journalists are failing doing that. No, at all. It's because it's nice to have people with them. It's nice to have the burden shared with other people, with other journalists. It's nice that they can rest a little bit or have some people supporting them so they don't have to do it by themselves. And most importantly, maybe if international journalists were there, targeting of journalists would stop. So we need them as protection because Israel dehumanizes our people. But would they dehumanize the Western journalists? We don't know. So we need them for that, not because our journalists are lacking anything. They're the most articulate, the most honest, showing, not just saying, they're showing everything, and people can judge. And they're saying the truth. And they are the best to be believed. on documenting everything that's happening in Gaza.
And our media should be employing them as well. You know, it's not
They
just
would be lucky
not
if they
just Al
accepted them.
Jazeera. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's true. They always say that we don't have like journalists in Gaza. How? We have journalists. You can always employ them.
Yeah.
Why are you keeping on saying those like nonsense lies? You are employing local journalists in everywhere. Why not in Palestine or why not in Gaza? It's so difficult. It's not. Our people speak so many languages, so it's not a barrier from us. It's their
And
barrier.
they're taking the risks.
And they're taking the risk that no international
Exactly,
journalist
yeah.
is going to take. You remember when Iran bombed Israel, and Israel have already bombed Iran and all of that. International journalists came. Where were they? In hotels. Do they think that we have hotels in Gaza? We did. Israel have dismantled, bombed them. So there is no hotels to stay at, no AC. We have tents? Hardly you can find tents. So they need to understand that. If you want journalists, we have them. If you want them, employ them.
And just let's not forget the incredible, it's just shocking. They have their families targeted.
Yes.
I mean, that's an immense risk. Western journalists aren't even risking their lives. They're going for promotion all the time. They're not even risking a knock to their career. But imagine like risking your child's life and losing a family member and then having to go to work. It's just incredible.
Yeah. And the most important thing to remember about journalists, it's not that they don't care about their families. They do. But there is something very important in Gaza. I myself live it, and every Palestinian does. Even if you were totally silent, if you were muted, you could be targeted. It's just enough to be Palestinian. It's more than enough for Israel to eradicate you and your family. And it happened to thousands of families and extended families. It's enough to be Palestinian. So even if they were muted, the murder and targeting of journalists and all other groups is still continuing, unfortunately.
We better. I think. What's the time? Sorry, I don't have a watch.
20.
We need to start the film. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
But thank you so much, Hala, and I hope you stay for the film. Let's quickly purchase a book, stretch your legs, and then we'll start the film in 5 minutes. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Stay strong. Make action.